Yes, people, we are back today to talk about what we believe is the worst ever Aston Villa combined 11. Now, just for a bit of context, me and Cory have both been born in different eras. I was born in 92. Cory, you were as a 2000 odd baby, weren't you? When was you born?
2001, yeah.
There you go. So there's a few years between us. So we've seen different players in different eras. So it should be quite an interesting format to go through. And like we're only going to judge it on players that we've seen live. So let us know in the comment section if there's any that we've missed out on that we couldn't really form an opinion on. Before we do get into it, I just want to remind everyone we do have an ongoing giveaway for either match tickets or a shirt of your choice. All that you need to do to qualify for that is smash that subscribe button. And we give away that every 500 subs. And we are getting close to the next giveaway. So don't miss out. So, Cory, let's kick it off. First thing I want to know, what formation have you gone?
Yeah, so I've gone for Unai Emery's 4-2-3-1. I just thought bog standard, see what I can make with that sort of formation. How about yourself, Ben?
So I've gone for a 4-3-3, and I've gone that because there's three centre midfielders that I couldn't choose between them, and I had to have all three of them in there. So, goalkeeper, who you gone for?
I've gone for Pierluigi Gallini in goal.
I've matched you. I went for Galini as well. He was absolutely woeful, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was terrible. I don't know how he ended up moving to Spurs, but
Well, in general, he's had a decent career after he's left us.
yeah,
I think he just joined us very, very young, didn't he? He very, very raw, very inexperienced, and coming into a team like Aston Villa with a lot of pressure on him because we're obviously getting out the Championship. Naturally, I think it was a move too soon for him, so that's why it didn't work. But yeah, he was terrible. He made so many clangers, didn't he?
yeah, especially that one on his debut against Sheff Wednesday, first game of the season as well. It's just
Yeah,
he was
didn't
never going
set
to
him up
have his
well, did
career.
he?
No.
Right back. This is an interesting one because I struggled with a right back, but I have made a decision. Who have you gone?
Mine's really controversial. Mine's Andres Garcia.
Ooh, very interesting. What? Why have we gone for Andres Garcia?
Purely for me, I just think, listen, his first couple of games, he looked promising, that sort of thing. But then he's been injured 90% of the time he's been here. When he has come back and played, he's not looked great. Obviously, he made that mistake against Liverpool and then against, I can't remember who it was, a few weeks ago when he played and we got battered. But he made a mistake in that game as well. And I think overall, I just don't think he's lived up to the height and the injuries and stuff. There's a few others I could have picked, but I just think the injuries and stuff, that's what set it for me.
I went for Habib Beye. Reason for that is I thought he was pretty pony anyway, but he kind of signalled the end, and we're starting to kind of come down a little bit, and we was paying him quite a lot of wages. If I remember rightly, it was around the 35-40k mark a week, which back then was decent whack for especially for a right back, and he was shocking, to be honest with you. Centre halves,
My first centre half's Julian Lescott. I just think that's a
yeah.
given. It's probably the easiest name we're going to put on this team. And then I've also gone for Jura Cory.
See, that's different. That's interesting because I didn't go for a Corey. I had to go for Lescott and Richards. I think as a two, you know, you could go for a Corey, and I don't disagree with you. With you, he was pretty shocking. But I just think the amount of minutes that both Richards and Lescott played together, and they formed the heart of that defence. That ultimately we went down with 17 points in the Premier League and how bad we were. And do you know what, the scarring memories of games that we just got battered. Yeah, that's why they're in there for me at the heart of my back four.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shot. I think Richards, to be fair, he probably should have been in my team. The only reason he wasn't, I just think out of the two, him and Lescott, I think you could see that weirdly enough, it shouldn't have, but it seemed to hurt Richards more how badly we were playing. Like Lescott being a boyhood Villa fan, you would have thought he would have cared a lot more than he did, and he didn't. I think Richards, you could see, was trying to put some sort of effort in. There's games against, I remember a game against Watford where we lost 3-2, and I was there, and Richards scored, and he was trying to get the crowd going, just trying to do everything he could to out, and then obviously Lescott he just didn't care by the end of it, and obviously that car tweet as well really didn't help his case.
Of course. Now this one's an interesting one because, like I said, I did struggle with fullbacks a little bit, but there is one that I think that stands out for me at left back. Who did you go for?
So I went for Joe Bennett. Personally, the thing with Joe Bennett was more. I didn't get to see a lot of him play. I mean, not many of us did, really. But also, I think when he did play, he wasn't great. And then obviously, after that, for some weird reason, he had a weird obsession with Villa after, and I just don't like him, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I don't blame you. He was my second choice. The one I've gone for is Ali Sissoko. He was an absolute donker. I thought we had, I thought we were onto something signing him when we brought him in. Like, at the end of the day, he played international caps for France. He played at big teams. I think Valencia, Liverpool. I'm sure it was Valencia off the top of my
Yeah.
head. But he was an international player, and he coming in was an absolute cart horse. He was terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think someone I know, obviously not a left back, but I think Bakuna was someone who also came up on my list. I know he could play left back at times, but I just think there was a couple of moments he gave us which just sort of pushed him out of that territory for me.
Right, I'll read out my 3 centimeters now because I've gone for a midfield three. So originally I had Jemba and Mustafa Salafu as to the two CMs. Now I was going to go for a 10, and I was thinking someone like Stephen Ireland because I was expecting so much from Stephen Ireland, and I don't think he lived up to his expectation. I thought he was pretty poor, but I had to go for 3 centre midfielders because there's no way that Yakuba Silla was missing out on this team. He was absolutely useless, and there's probably a load of players that I've missed out on there. But them are three that come to mind. Jemba, he was shocking. I'm not even going to go back through all three of them. They were all absolutely shite, weren't they?
So I've got Yakuba Silla in mine. Unfortunately, I can't comment on Jemba or McCoon really. I went with Henry Lansbury as my other. I thought he was absolutely awful. Another player who, obviously, in that championship era, the first season came in, and him and Conor Hourihane were meant to guide us to back to the Premier League, and one of them did it in terms of Conor Hourihane, but Henry Lansbury was always injured, didn't seem to care. Whenever he played, he looked awful. So I went for Henry Lansbury and Yakuba Silla as my two.
I can't have Henry Lansbury there, man. No, not a chance. Not especially not after that goal that he scored away at Leeds. I remember that. I remember the scenes in the away end that day. I was at that game. I can't have Henry Lansbury, and especially obviously you didn't see the other two, but honestly, Jemba, well, Salafu, horrendous, absolutely horrendous. Now, right wing, I'm going to sound probably a little bit harsh, yeah, because I was considering Bakuna for that, and there was a couple others that you could have gone for, but I've actually gone for Evan Gesson.
Oh, do you know what? I completely forgot about Evan Gesson. I went for Adama Traore.
That's not a bad shout,
I just think
Traore.
with Adama Traore, there was moments, but even now as a footballer, he's still not developed past what he was at Villa. He had pace. Don't get me wrong. There was a couple of decent crosses and stuff. I don't remember him scoring for us. I could be wrong. He might have scored in the cup or
He
something.
scored one.
But I mean, for what he had, and like I know he was young when he played, but he just wasn't a very good footballer and still isn't. So that was my sort of reasoning.
Yeah, I would just argue the toss there that he was young. He was a kid when he comes to us, weren't he? And there was an
Yeah,
expectation for him to, you know, keep us up in the Premier League. But Evan Gesson's come to us at 25-year-old bloke coming into his peak, and he couldn't control a bag of cement, mate. So left wing. Now there were so many options for left wing. One of the standouts for me was Simon Dawkins, and I didn't put him in my team. I've actually gone for Alexander Tonev. I thought he was the most believable player on his day ever. He's so poor.
yeah. I've gone for a player who strikes confidence into defences. I've gone for Alexander Tonev as well.
Yeah, I've gone for Tonev.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
do you know who was an outside shout? Now I know a lot of some Villa fans might not agree with me, but Scott Sinclair. I know he got the goals against Baggies, but apart from he was pretty shit, weren't he?
I think for what we thought we were getting from Scott Sinclair, I agree. Like obviously, experienced pro. He'd played for Man City. He'd obviously had a good career at Swansea before that. And when he came in, he wasn't exactly what we thought. But I think obviously, like I say, similar to your Henry Lansbury uh, moment, that goal against West Brom in the cup sort of takes him out of contemplation slightly.
Now, we have had so many shit strikers, like
I'm
terrible
going to quickly
strikers.
jump in because I've got to do a 10.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. Go on.
I've got the 40. I went for Jota Silva from Blues.
He weren't a 10, though. He's a right winger.
Wow. Yeah, but it was more the thing about I needed to get him, Traore, and Tonev in. And I was like, as a creative one of the three, that was his sort of role. And I just thought he was terrible.
Is that your cop out that you said?
Yeah. So it's one of them where I think, listen, as he wasn't the worst player I've ever seen. He had a brilliant pre-season in that season, but he didn't bring anything to the team, did he? Really?
Always be remembered for that ball that he played to Wesley.
That's it.
Yeah, striker. There's so many options.
Yeah.
Couple that came to mind that I didn't choose. Now you may have chosen Nicholas Hellenius being one of them, Grant Holt being another. Two absolute donkeys. I'd even go as far as saying Rudy Gestead. Apart from the goal he scored against Blues, he weren't much cop for a £7 million signing. But the man that I've gone for, Jordan Bowery.
Yeah, I see. I thought about Bowery, but again, it was just more that sort of niche area for me as a Villa fan, being a lot younger. There was two, obviously, like you say. I did go for Grant Holt initially, and then I was like, actually, to be fair, we only had him on a 6-month loan, so it's not really fair to bring him into it. I did end up settling on Hellenius.
You did go for Lannis.
Yeah,
I'll
just
tell you.
really
I'll tell you. Tell you shite as well. The one that I didn't just mention. Borja Baston.
yeah. See, again, my initial thought was Samatta. That was my first instinct, was Ali Samatta. But then also, again, I was like, he did score that goal in the final and whatnot. Hellenius, obviously, 2 years he was at Villa, 3 appearances, 0 goals, which, again, it's probably not fair because I don't think he was brought in as a first choice striker, but he just didn't even give any competition to anyone. I think Gestead might be a harsh shout if I'm being honest. I think obviously he did okay in the Championship, scored 2 against Liverpool at Anfield, scored against Bournemouth on the opening day, the goal against Blues.
It's an interesting
Also,
one.
didn't mention Ross McCormack.
Do you know what he was on my? He was one person I was considering, but then I thought about actual ability, and he scored a goal or two for us, and I thought Hellenius was worse.
Yeah.
I think what we got. I just think not Hellenius. Sorry, Jordan Bowery's worse. Jordan Bowery was shocking. There's a reason why he's playing. He was League Two. He might even been. I don't even know what league he's playing in now, but he might have been retired now. But he was so bad. Everyone thought he might have been the next Lahore. You could even put bloody Nathan D'Alfonso in that list, to be honest. But he's an academy boy, so probably be a bit harsh to go and dig him out. There's another midfielder that we did a couple midfielders that we didn't mention. Is it Tom Carroll, the one we got on loan from Swansea? And then
I thought we were getting Leroy Fer.
Yeah, and then Danny Drinkwater.
Drinkwater's a good shout as well, isn't it?
Yeah, there's honestly, I don't even want to admit it, man, but we have seen some absolute shit at Aston Villa, haven't we, over the years?
Oh yeah, it's awful. That's the thing now. Players like Evan Gesson, who comes to the club, you're thinking, is this Messi compared to some of the players we've seen? But
yeah. Right, I'm going to flash up the teams at the end of the video. Let me know in the comment section who chose the worst team, me or Cory. Final one from us, up the Villa.